Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of That Podcast. I'm Pastor DJ Lura, and with me, as always, is Sarah DeYoung, Dana Mashevsky, and Katie Stensgaard.
You had to think there for a second.
I had to get we had to clap right, just right.
We got to get our studio audience on the same page.
Absolutely.
That's it.
For those of you who don't know, Katie Stensgaard is kind of the grand poobah of everything under 12-year-old related here at Atonement. It's director of children's ministries and activities and
I
Sunday
like that.
school.
Grand Poobah. I was like, I've
Grand
never
Poobah.
had that title before. That's kind of cool.
The High Inquisitor, or whatever whatever title you want.
I was like, yeah,
That's what we need to do.
Yep.
The boss.
Everybody gets new titles.
Yes.
I think you almost need to Mad Lib style it, like put a couple like leadershipy terms into a bowl and you get to grab two.
I'm in.
That'd be a fun one.
I've been, kids ministry director for far too long.
Yeah, it's time for a switch up.
I'm sure it's happened, but every time I've seen Katie in her role, in her vocation, doing her thing, you're like unfazed. Like there's hundreds of kids that, for lack of a better term, are basically ankle biters. Yeah. And I have one of them too. And you're just super chill with all of them. I'm always so impressed. I'm like, I wonder if she ever loses her cool. Like
Inwardly, maybe.
But I feel like you've got 4 kids, so like
It's good practice at home.
yeah.
Like my job and my home life have both prepared me for like the same thing. To be outwardly collected.
Well, and I know that you're a good proponent of physical exercise.
Yes.
Is good for the soul, and it affects all the other wellness things, like physical, emotional, mental, social, and spiritual. Mm-hmm. You're a good example of that, I think.
Yeah.
You're always into something active. I've found. So.
Yes. Yeah, no, definitely. And it's been kind of fun to bring that passion to Atonement through Bio Girls, first running, and now we do our self-defense thing. And just, I don't know, it's kind of, for me, it's like the next level. Like you enjoy it, but then like passing that love on, like through ministry to other people is super awesome.
Well, and not just, we'll talk more about those things, but also rock climbing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And for a while there, you were snowboarding, like in a past life, right?
Yeah. Well, that's
and
actually,
running.
I have a degree in recreation outdoor leadership.
That
so
makes
I haven't
so much
had
sense.
an actual degree in this stuff, which is funny because most people are like, they do degrees in that? And I was like, oh, they do.
They did in my case.
Yep. I have one.
I said, give her the diploma. Yeah. She does it.
Yes. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. Well, so what is going on? We got some special stuff coming up real soon.
Right. Just a few
Just
things.
in a couple of weeks.
Been in the building.
Like, week-long event.
Yeah,
Right.
they may have noticed some changes to the building, especially the sanctuary.
I thought we moved to Arizona or New Mexico
Even
or something.
Paul on Sunday had the perfect match down.
Did he?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
his shirt like perfectly coordinated the
I
background.
texted Sarah because I was like,
I wonder if I have a picture of it.
yeah, I was like, he looks like he fits with that backdrop. Like he had to plan that shirt.
Preaching from the canyon lands.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He's so funny too because he was like naming actual places where this is obviously this canyon, but they
like,
don't have
"This
those type of
doesn't live
cacti.
That's funny. Well, that's kind of his jam though, right? Is like visiting national parks. So, and I feel like you're like out of everyone, like he just has like all the knowledge about super random stuff. So it's like a nice pairing of those two things.
So why do we have the deserts
Oh yeah.
in our building, like everywhere? Why is all this stuff
for
here?
bringing us back on
Yeah,
topic.
that's
We didn't talk about it.
that's why I get the loud mic this week.
Right. Vacation Bible School. We do it every year. This year, the theme is monumental, talking about God's big love, and we are set in the desert Southwest. So I don't know. I always love decorating for VBS and kind of watching the transformation in the church, and because that's kind of one of the best things when the kids get here, and it just kicks it up a notch. It makes it magical for them, and just letting them experience it. So we're super blessed to, well, not just this year, every year we get decorations typically from Triumph, and then we try and pass them on. So they did a lot of great decorating. So we were able just to use that. So it was great. But yeah, so we have cacti, and we have a great canyon that has grown up in the sanctuary. That's pretty cool. And just a lot of camping stuff. Rock formations. Jarl is actually making, it's not done yet, but when you walk into the sanctuary, he's going to make like one of the arches, like delicate arch. So you'll actually be like walking under the arch every time you go into the
Oh,
sanctuary.
cool.
So cool.
Yeah, and it's Jarl. So I'm like, I don't know what to expect, but I know it's going to be amazing.
Yep.
It will
Yeah.
not make sense until it is done.
Yep.
And then
Yes.
you're like, yes, perfect.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
so for folks who are not well versed in Fargo Moorhead or at Atonement, Triumph is Triumph Lutheran Church. They're another Lutheran church, and
Yes.
this is like the ghetto of Lutherans in the entire country. We have every flavor of Lutheran here, every alphabet combination. Not every Lutheran is the same Lutheran. We are Atonement is Lutheran in heritage, but we partner with other Lutheran denominations because there's not another LCMC church in this area, Lutheran Congregations Mission for Christ, and Triumph's been a great partner with us, Triumph Lutheran. And I believe are they Lutheran Brethren?
Lutheran Brethren. Yeah.
But we've always gotten, like, it's been, a decade of doing partnering with them for VBS?
We, for a while at least, I have been here. This will be my 5th VBS. And since then, and actually because Carissa, who is their VBS director at the East Campus, which actually we got West, but she kind of started it. We went to high school together. And one year she was like, do you want these? And I was like, yes, because they're amazing. We spent a ton of time on it. And then we would pass it on, to Lake Eunice. And so
cool.
it would live on past that, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And
At
you
least
kind of
all
want
their
to.
work, because that is some intense stuff.
Right.
At least gets more use than just one week, and then you throw it out. And you're like, look, I spent 3 months building a canyon for 1 week worth of time.
Right. Well, and then it gets to live on, which is the cool thing. Like you just, like you said, you spent so much time building it for a week. You're like, someone else should use this.
Well, and it's nice too. I think we've always done a good job with VBS of truly transforming the whole space. So getting help with that transformation, and then helping places that maybe won't have the same ability to do that. We can pass that on and make it even more experiential and awesome for other kids going to VBS somewhere else.
Well, it's kind of like some of the other things that happen in this community, like Feed My Starving Children. We take off our individual team hats and we come together and partner. And I think that the partnerships, Katie, that you have fostered or have become a part of,
right.
That's a really cool thing too, because we don't all have to do VBS together as one big group, but by giving it on many different occasions, that gives a big opportunity for a lot of the kids and adult volunteers that come to be a part of it to experience that during the summer.
Yeah.
So when is VBS at Atonement this year?
I am glad you asked.
Oh,
It is July 24th through the
Ryan,
28th.
I'm coming for your job. Okay, go ahead.
Right. And we do it at night. So that's nice. So even if you work during the day and you're like, how am I going to get my kids there? We do night VBS, which I love. So it's from 6 until 8:15. And then, July 24th through the 28th. And then the last night, we always have a lawn party where we have Thad from Thad's Magic come, and he does his bubble bonanza.
Oh, that was so much fun.
I know, I love
The
that.
best part. My favorite photos I took
Are from that.
The foam bubble party.
Yep.
For sure. Yeah. And
Well-
we've had the ice cream truck come, so we always have ice cream, and everyone just hangs out on the lawn. And then we send the kids home, super full of foam bubbles
They're
and
soaking
ice
wet.
cream.
They've had a ton of ice
Yes,
cream.
but happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they've loved it.
I got
Yeah.
Dylan in the car, and he literally went squeak, 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 squeak. They're squeaky clean by the
Yes,
time they're
yeah.
done.
Well, and then they always want to put it, even if you don't go in, they want to bring it back to you.
Yes.
So everyone
Yes,
has
I have
the
a photo of-
mustaches.
I don't know if it was Reese or one of your children. Where it's getting you with a face full of bubbles.
Yes.
And then I
Yes.
also have Derek Whalen with a nice bubble.
It is
Yeah.
the funny of watching kids who are kind of on the outside first, okay, I'll poke at it a little bit, and then give it 15 minutes. They're in the
They're
center
in
swan diving. And then 15 minutes later, they're bringing it back out to their parent or
Absolutely.
their friend.
And sometimes you're like, where did they even go?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
just
'cause
engulfed
it's so
by
big
little
and
bubbles.
they're
it's
real
like that
little.
scene from Mulan
Yes.
with the snowstorm, just there's kid popping out.
Oh, yeah. Yes, yeah, I love that. And talk about partnerships. Thad came and did a music or his magic show 4 years ago, and has been coming back for he does the golf thing, he does the foam bubble thing. So we love them. And then sometimes he just shows up for events. So yeah,
Can't argue with that.
right.
It's a good time.
Another name that I want to share with our non-Fargo resident listeners is Jarl was mentioned. Jarl is Jarl Iverson. He's the Music Man, and
the maker of gadgets.
and the maker of things.
Yes.
And he's just an amazing guy. And so anything that he brings to the table, you know, is going to be fun. He made like a rocket launcher a couple years ago.
Yeah. All the things that need to be constructed for VBS, I'm like, Jarl, here are your projects for this VBS. Yeah. And he's like, and you can see like the wheels start to turn already.
And he's like planning out like, when am I on vacation? So when?
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just comes into the church in pieces, and all of a sudden, I think Margene has a picture of like him walking in one day with like a giraffe head or something, or a zebra head.
Yeah.
A few years back, and it was like, all right, guys, here's part of my project, and you just see a giraffe.
That's what I
head in
mean,
the aisle.
though, is like he'll bring in things, and you're like, what is it?
I think the giraffe head like he had at home from something else randomly.
Just had it in storage.
Yeah, like, this will be great.
Yeah, it was fun.
And I like that it's in the evening too. When I was growing up, it was before it was cool, and it wasn't called VBS. It was called Vacation Bible School. And you would go during the daytime, in the morning, usually from like 9 until 2, and you'd have lunch in there. But all I remember from that as a kid is playing Red Rover, and making macaroni art.
Oh, yes.
That's it. That's all I recall. Whereas every VBS I've been a part of, that's the way you're doing it. I remember tons of stuff from it. Yeah. And you know, take away a lot from it. So I think that I'm glad that my kids are able to be a part of a VBS like what Atonement is putting on. And I love the fact that my son is going through it, and my daughter wants to volunteer.
I think that's one of the coolest things is like when kids, you know, are in that like transition year from 5th to 6th grade, when they're like not in like kids and they're transitioning to youth stuff, but they're like, I always have kids that are like, we can keep coming to VBS, right? And I'm like,
right?
Yes, because you're helpers now.
That's right.
And you still get to like sing all the songs and do all the fun things. Just like,
Yeah, but you're a helper, so you're like, so it's acceptable. It's cool because you're a helper, but you can still do all the stuff, get all the gizmos, because like you were saying, we try and make it really interactive, because I think, you know, faith at any age should be fun and should be interactive. So we always have them moving, you know, like they're doing the sciencey gizmos. We have an outdoor game station set up. Even the Bible station is all like you experience the Bible firsthand. Like Dave John Dahl was the Pharaoh one year, and they like all attacked him because
he became like public enemy number 1 that year.
That kind of happened to Paul last year. That was the one thing I remember of it, of like, they got really mad at Paul. Like, it was part of the story he was teaching, and they got mad. And I was like, oh, they're into this.
Yeah, like, you know, you do a good job at your role, like when you kind of like transfer into being that person, and they're like, we don't like you.
Yeah,
That's
they were
right.
like, that is not fair. He's like, I know it's not fair. That's the point.
Well, I was super impressed with him last year. You could hear a pin drop in his room. I had games, so you couldn't hear anything during games.
Right.
Screaming.
Never.
But in his room, whatever he did, he mesmerized them, and
they
were
fully
locked in.
on whatever he was teaching them that day. They were there.
They were,
man.
because I would have to go, because he would run, you know, like a minute or two over.
He was on Paul time.
Paul time.
Yeah.
So I'd go in, but they wouldn't want to leave. They were all like gathered around him on the floor, and he had them. It was very cool to see.
Let him finish. Let him finish.
Yeah, it was. They're like, it's not time, and I was like, it is.
It actually is.
Yeah, funny. It is time. Yeah.
Excellent. So, how many? One thing I always wondered about, because we use. Have you always used group? Like, that's kind of my background with VBS in my public ministry, is using the group material.
Yes. Yeah, we have. And Lisa Larson, who was the kids ministry director prior to me, she was the one who started using group. I think, I want to say at least 2 or 3 years before I took it over. So for the last 8 years, Cave Quest is the first one I remember doing from group. But group does such a nice job that it's like all in there. It's basically like you get a lesson plan, and then you know, like for the teachers out there, then you make it your own. You kind of adapt it, but it's like all there. They give you all the materials, you get the music videos, and it's super well done. So that's nice.
Well, so what I want to ask you, if you've noticed this, every year they come out with unique characters for each day.
These
that.
ones are my favorite.
Well,
They're so cute.
They must have now made like 200 of these characters since they started doing
the Bible buddies. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And I'm wondering, have any of them been repeated? Have any of them shown up Have they run out of ideas? Or are they like the Disney Magic Studio?
They're all new. It's, it's hard to remember from one year to the next because you're like, VBS killed my brain. We have it in photos. I'm sure we could look back.
Took a whole year to recover from
Now that I
from
think
the
about it,
last
I want
year.
to look up the old ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're kind of unique to, so like whatever the
They
setting.
match the
So these are like all desert creatures.
Right.
And then, like we had Shipwrecked and they were all kind of like seafaring or like lived around desert
Tropical.
island,
Yep.
tropical.
Rainforest creatures.
Yeah.
The train one is now the one I'm like, what were those ones?
We had like a mountain goat
Yeah.
and
oh,
you know what I'm
Rocky Mountain.
what are they gonna do for space next year?
I am so
There's a
those
couple
ones are my-
aliens.
yeah.
They're like
space
planets.
monkeys.
Oh, that's gonna be cool.
I'm so excited.
I'm
for
trying to
that
think.
thing.
What was?
like?
Like
I
these-
think was Shipwrecked your first year one?
Yeah.
Was that the one with the
'Cause we
manta
didn't do
ray?
We just
shirts
tripped,
yet.
like-
yeah.
That's I think my favorite one of
Ray
all
the
of
manta
them.
ray. I think that was actually his name.
Yeah.
Was Ray. Yeah. Yeah.
Just
I
this
remember
huge
him.
manta ray that just
He'd
like
glide out.
yeah, it
and
was like
teach you.
kind of like Crush from Finding Nemo,
yes,
but a little like cooler.
because didn't we have a
little le-
turtle too?
I think so.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
You don't really hear a whole lot of like the stories, but I'm telling you, if group ever gets the funding for it, they could put together cartoons of these different
Oh, yeah,
characters, and kids would
absolutely.
dig them.
Yeah. Well, and then we use group for like our Sunday school and our Wednesday night programs too, just because I love like the interactive format. It's always like games and object lessons and things that gets kids up and moving around and experiencing faith in an interactive way. Cause like we don't want them to sit
Because
around
you're
all
also
day.
like, you're asking a bunch of little kids to like be in church on Sunday morning and like not be crabby. And so like what better way than to like, we're also going to play a game.
get them moving around.
Instead of just like, here, sit here and do this like worksheet.
right.
Well,
and while you play a game, learn about Jesus.
Yeah.
Group has been really good about the immersive learning stuff, and for a while there, I don't know if there are churches that still do it. I don't think we do, but rotational Sunday school, where you had like, this room is the art room, and this room is the movie theater, and this room is the game room, and you would go over you do a lesson on like Pharaoh and Moses, and you do it for like 6 weeks, rotating through those different locations. And I've been in churches where we've done that with the Sunday school space, where we've like specialized each room. So you would go in there, and one room would be the science room, and it would look like a science lab, and one would be the movie theater. Was always my favorite because you'd get the seating like in a movie
riser
theater and
seating,
put I mean, and that's all neat and stuff, but I like how group does immersive learning in one lesson in one day through the different stations that you go into. I just think it's really well done. And
Right.
and if you're using that on Sunday, I mean, it's got kind of that same feel.
Yeah. And then typically the lessons do build off one another and then I've heard that from our teachers. They're like, it's so cool because they really learn the point because, it's a different lesson, but the theme or the Bible story is the same over 4 weeks. And so then they really get the point of that, which I think is cool.
Oh, and kids learn in different ways. I mean, it's so funny. I have one child who's a self-proclaimed athlete brainiac. She's smart and she likes sports. And I have another one who's like a self-proclaimed theater kid. And the thing is we didn't put these things on them.
That they developed those on their
They
own.
decided this is what I want to be. Okay. All right. So, for what works for one, the other one gets, come at it a different way, and the light bulb goes off.
Right.
So.
And it's them. I had one who asked for a sewing machine at 5 and I was like, oh, okay. I don't sew. No.
She like sews.
Yeah.
She
Very
does.
impressive.
She cleans my house. She reorganized my room. I was like, I don't know where anything is. Yeah, I have 10 pillows on my bed. How am I going to use all these pillows at the same time? But it's great. Like, that's just like they're their own people. Yeah.
She didn't give you a color-coded diagram as to where everything was?
I'm sure. Well, that's coming. I'm sure. She moved my geese. I was like, you touched
Oh,
my
wow.
geese. I know. Don't touch mom's geese. Yeah. It's for jujitsu.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that. So what are Ghees?
Ghees are what you wear to practice jujitsu. Well, any like karate has ghees. They're like the uniforms. You have like the top and then the pants. So jujitsu actually has gi and then like no gi where you wear the rash guard and the shorts. But it's the uniform basically.
Yeah, the gi is a Japanese workout attire basically that came originally out of jiu-jitsu. It was a jiu-jitsu uniform, and other martial arts adjust the gi, which is usually like it's pants and then it's like a
kimono
robe
top.
top.
Yeah.
A jacket, and different Taekwondo has made the jacket into like a shirt that you put over, you just pull over in one piece. Jiu-jitsu has they're usually thicker.
Yeah, and like the collar is like a hard collar.
Yeah, isn't it
Yeah.
like heavy?
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas the karate gi is a bit lighter much lighter than a judo or jiu-jitsu gi. So you have gis because you are into
Jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Me and the kids.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So doing that, competing a little bit. Gonna go to Masters Worlds this year, I think.
Oh,
so
so cool. Are the boys still into it too?
They are.
Okay.
Yeah, they did it. Joel did one competition. It happened to be his 6th birthday, so he like moved up a division on that day because the competition was on his birthday, and so we signed him up for like the gi and the no gi, so like the uniform and not. And he did his gi division. And he like didn't super love it. He finished it. I was proud of him for finishing it. And then he decided he was done for the day.
Nice.
We're like, okay.
He's 6. I think that's okay.
Right. And we're
his
like,
birthday.
that's okay. And then we had swimming and cake and like kind of like little party at the hotel, and that like saved it. And now he wants to go to more competitions, like not to compete, but just to like
Swim and eat cake.
Yeah,
and-
everything goes with
Now
it.
he
Yeah.
associates competitions with also
swimming and cake.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, Mom, let's go to more competitions.
I might
Like,
have to.
no, that was special.
My son and I are doing karate together, and he likes karate, but I might need to mix in some swimming and cake. to
Yes,
really kind of.
right? Well, that's like
really
that's
kinda
what
sell it.
sweetens the deal
Yeah,
right.
to travel for stuff. Yeah. Yes, the hotel and the swimming and cake.
Well, that's really cool. And now you've been doing jiu-jitsu for a year or 2 years now?
Year and a half.
Year and a half.
Got my blue belt a couple months ago.
Nice.
Yeah.
But you're all in. I mean, this isn't like I mean, this is your new physical.
yes. It's kind of like,
release.
I was talking about this with Talia, who's my oldest daughter, and she's like, Mom, do you think about jujitsu how I think about sewing and crafting? And I was like,
Yeah.
yes, that is a good way of putting it. Like, it's your
That's
thing.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
everybody
they
has
get
their
it.
thing.
Yep. Yeah. And I was,
At
very
least
much
your
so.
kids like do it with you. I don't do my mom's thing, so like
You don't want to run like 20 miles?
Yeah.
No,
Spartan races. Come on.
When your mom runs, do you get in the car behind her or like in a golf cart and root her on?
No. So this is the funny thing is that my mom does Regners, which are like marathon relay things that are over the course of like 2 days. They're like 200 miles or something. But they have to have like they're in teams, and they have to have someone drive a van. And my mom was like, "Do you want to drive the van for one of my Regners?" And I was like, do I get to sleep? She's like, well, like when we're waiting for the person to come in, you can sleep then. I was like, no, like,
Do I get to keep a normal schedule? Of
like,
sleep?
I'm not doing this thing where like I sleep for 20 minutes and then drive you guys to your next stop. No, absolutely not. I used to like bike with my mom. Like I would bike while she ran, and then like, no, I'm done. I don't like being outside. That's the one thing is like, I hate the outdoors.
If she would run inside, that
Yeah.
might be a whole different story. You know, you can sit and.
Well, she used to have a treadmill, and she used to run indoors.
There you go. That's
The
perfect.
dogs hated it.
Oh, sure.
So then I'd wake up to the dogs barking.
Oh, man.
It's not a good time.
Real quickly, Ragnar, is that like a Spartan run? Because it sounds like a Viking thing, like Ragnarok.
You can do them in teams of 6 or 12.
Okay.
And they, over the course of like essentially 2 days, you just take turns in like a relay of like, and they're all different sections of legs. Like my mom.
But it's a marathon. It's not like they're running up and down a hill and picking up rocks and running up and down the hill.
There's
and
no like act, but there are like the trail ones. So
Okay.
there's a trail in I think Colorado, like Colorado Springs or something, and you're going through the mountains. Like my mom once trained, like had to do elevation training. When she was doing that. And it was like the air's real thin up there, and I'm like, that just sounds so painful.
You're like, not my thing.
Why do you want to run for that long? No.
Okay, so now I need to ask, because you oversee the Bio Girls programs at Atonement too, and I'd like you to talk a little bit about that, but do the girls do a Ragnar run at the end of...
They don't. They do a 5K, although Ragnar, maybe some year, probably not.
No, now you're giving her ideas.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind
A
of how
mini
like,
one.
Bio Girls Self-Defense came to be, because we were like, well, Bio Girls is so great, and I love running. Like, what could we do in the fall? And DJ is into karate, and I like have my jujitsu, and we're like, well, and I feel like every girl should learn how to defend
Absolutely.
herself. And I've seen just like what jiu-jitsu has done for my own girls, like not just self-defense wise, but like confidence and just knowing your body and so many good things. So yeah, they don't.
And that's like Bio Girl's whole thing is just like,
meeting girls
self-confidence
at an age, when typically their self-esteem plummets and they start to, have like body issues because they get bombarded by the media about like how they should look and how they should think and how they should act. And Bio Girls does a great job of addressing all of those things. And right now it is like Bio Girls is just for girls. So it's, all of our mentors are female. DJ was actually the first, what is your official title? Bio Man. Like,
I'm a Bio Girls booster. How about that?
So he does like the activity
I'm an
portion.
advocate, I guess.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, he actually got a non-pink shirt this year. Although I did like it when you rocked the pink shirt. You made it look good.
I thought I did. I thought
did.
the pink really brought out the red in my eyes. I thought. No, it was funny because it's Anna, right?
Who is our like site liaison?
This time
Yes.
around, so Katie and I piloted together. She led the whole thing, and I just brought in some of the martial arts stuff. We did the pilot program last year, and it was really well received. So much so that this time around, I didn't see this, but just on like social media, there was 20,000.
There's so many
Like
people.
26,000 views the last time I looked a week ago of like the registration for self-defense. So we were like,
that's awesome.
yeah, we had a 20 girl site. We're like, can we move it up to like a full site? Like maybe we should do
Let's
40.
We'll go 40.
Yeah, 'cause,
We'll go
like,
40.
Yeah, because right
If
now
you
we're
can
the
only
only
have 20
self-defense
girls.
site.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
not enough of them get to do it. And I think
no.
it's a really nice program. to
Well-
teach
Well,
them
and
that.
DJ does such a good job of too. It's not just they learn how to throw the punches and the kicks, but it's also like situational awareness and like your last option is to fight, and like kind of teaching them why, like the why and the win, and like that's not our go-to. It's like we're not learning it to beat people up. We're learning it to like keep safe and like if you have to.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, apparently they liked it last time, and
They really did.
we kind of learned from what we did, so it's going to be a bit more streamlined this time around, but and a lot more fun. But I'm excited. That
My
we're gonna do it
favorite
again.
part, so at the end we do like a finale, like the running finale season is a 5K. And so for the self-defense, we did like a parent showcase where they got to show all the self-defense they've been learning. And my favorite was when Harper got to like hip toss you. Like she threw DJ down
straight
onto a
just, like,
mat.
Yeah.
The look on her face was just like, I can do anything.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. What
She
I
was
feel
fully
like
empowered.
she was. And like, cause they were,
But they
we
were
kind of
also like
assigning
nervous
roles.
to do it right
Yeah, they
away.
were.
It's like when you ask them like who wants to do this, they're like, mm-mm.
Yeah. No, she got into that. She
And then
owned
they
that
actually
hip
did it
toss.
and they looked like they were having the best time.
Then I think more
Yeah.
of them
Then my
wish
neck
they'd
was
done
hurt
it.
for 4 months after that.
Like after that, DJ was injured.
It's all coming back to me now.
It all makes a lot more sense how this happened.
Yeah.
See,
that
but
was
now
fun.
you're healed, so you can just
No,
do it
I'm
again.
ready to go again.
Round 2.
I'm ready to go again.
Well, that's not till the end. So you have a few weeks leading
Right,
up to
right.
that. Yeah.
Build up to that.
For sure.
Well, yeah, I mean it's a great program, but what I was gonna say is I had this pink shirt last year, and I can handle that. However, this time around, Anna had said, maybe we should get you a different shirt rather than the women's tank tops we give to all of our directors. To which I responded, I don't think I would be able to. That wouldn't really flatter me. So yes, if you could get me something else. So I got this great shirt that says "Be kind" on the front.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Although if anyone could pull off a women's tank top,
You think I
that
could?
was not a woman, I feel like you could.
Well, I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but thank you.
It is. You should take it as such.
All right, there you go.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yep. So I got that going for me, which is nice. There we go.
When all else fails.
Yeah, right. Is that a women's tank? It's unisex. I was told I can pull it off.
Hey, it's like the man purse, right?
Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
It's a satchel.
It's his official title.
Well, and the thing about the Bio Girl self-defense I think is kind of neat is that if there is this real interest in it, it's a simple enough program that's aimed at the martial arts part of it is aimed at, or the self-defense part I should say, is aimed at simplifying techniques that Katie can attest to. If you're training jiu-jitsu, it really does become a commitment to improve in it, and it's not something you can really pick up in 12 weeks.
No.
where you know, if I'm sure you'll pick up some stuff, but to really become proficient in it, it takes continuous practice. Same with a classical martial art like Okinawan karate that I do. It takes years of study to get into the intricacies because there's so many things beyond just punching and kicking that comes into a martial art. And I'm not just talking about the stuff that's you know, good for your confidence and respect and humility. That all comes with it too. But I'm talking about being able to effectively defend yourself in any possible situation. So with the Bao Girls self-defense course, the techniques that they're learning, I'm trying to make as efficient as possible in movement and aiming at the weakest part of an adult's body. So that even a child, because the goal really, especially for a small child, is not to beat adults to a pulp. That's self-defense is about being able to strike effectively in order to escape. And really your best weapon is your voice. And the smartest self-defense is to not be in a situation where you could be in danger. But if that danger comes, can someone who is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 effectively escape a much larger adult? And so the techniques are aimed at being able to do that, aiming at what's called Kyucho Jitsu, or pressure points, vital points on the human body that we all have. And so hopefully that comes across along, you know, the bigger piece is the confidence building, but that they're actually getting some tools that they can use that hopefully would be in their head if they were ever in a dangerous situation.
Right. Well, and I think you did such a good job about, you know, like we covered it every week. Like you would go over, you know, like what are the vital points? Like what is your most effective weapon? Where they like we would build off of that, but just it was in their head. So like that was cool again at the finale to see, because you would like ask them and like all of them could say those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we're gonna the next thing is training others to do this simplified self-defense curriculum and
so
go
that
and
everybody doesn't have to hire you to do.
so that we don't have 26,000 classes, or I guess how many
DJ can
divided
only
by 40.
handle so many
Right,
hip
so
throws to the
basically-
ground.
Every day of the week, you teach one bio.
There you go.
Yep.
Bio girl. Yeah. Wow.
All the bio girls.
My neck
all the time.
my neck is gonna fall off. That's it.
Doing
Or
it
maybe
from like
it'll
a full
get-
body cast.
Yep.
Well, look, it's not so much me, because I didn't come up with any of this stuff. This is stuff that I've
Right.
trained for a long time, and anyone who's done martial arts training, you can very quickly recognize. I mean, Katie was like, "Oh yeah, I know what you're doing. This is this." And so if as Bio Girls spreads out and goes into other parts of the state, other parts of the country as it's doing, that this would be an option in other places as well for a Bio Girl self-defense program. So it's pretty cool.
It is cool. Yeah, they're in, I want to say, well, last year was 5 states. I wouldn't be surprised if it's more now. But they keep spreading. Like every year they grow
Yeah, they do.
out so much.
And it's like they're spreading down. At least that's what I've seen. I don't know if they've gone up into
I
Canada
don't
too,
think they're in Canada yet.
but it's
Probably
like,
will
they
be.
could.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, my mom mentors for bio girls
You said that at the Mayville site, right? That's pretty cool.
because she runs.
Of course.
Of course she does.
Yeah,
Of course.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, I have a bunch of like ladies from my gym now that mentor for self-defense. So that is also cool to like see all your different worlds merge. Cause they're like, it's such a cool program and they love being a part of it. So
And my
that's
mom
cool.
really likes it, which I think is interesting. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like my mom's not a kid person.
I think
No.
that's the cool part too, is like you're getting people into mentor who you're getting them with their interests as well. So maybe if you're not a kid person, or if you just look for another way to do running or self-defense, you've got a good way to,
Yep.
you might not think you have influence enough for kids, but you do.
You do. And they love their mentors. It's so cool to see like how those relationships build over the 12 weeks. And you're like, well, one day a week, but I mean, they get really attached to
They
their
really
mentors.
do.
Yeah. So it's fun to watch like that all unfold too.
Well, and I am hoping, this is my long-term hope, that there is an expert who also happens to be female that's better at this than me, so that I can disappear and Bio Girls can be led that way
Oh,
too.
I thought that was when we would just do another chapter.
Oh, is that? Oh, okay.
I'm like,
All
I don't
right.
think that lets you off the hook.
I'm in it for life.
Yeah, no, you
Little
start
did you know.
Nope.
Yeah.
Can't leave.
DJ's going to be 99 getting thrown to the ground by 8 to 11 year olds.
That one hurts.
That was going to happen anyway,
True.
regardless. That one hurt. Hit my LifeLock button. I can't get up.
Just imagining that scene from Miss Congeniality too, with Regis and the sing technique.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
That movie. That was a good movie.
All right. What else is going on? Anything else, Katie?
So we covered VBS, which is going to be awesome. You should definitely get your kids signed up. Still time. We take walk-ins too.
Yes, if you want to sign up early, atonement.live.
Yeah,
or atonementfargo.org.
There we go.
You can walk in and do Vacation Bible School. We like it when you sign up early, just because we prepare for a certain number. I mean, we always have extra. We make sure that everyone that comes in gets to do VBS.
Yep.
But it is kind of helpful if you sign up early, and then it helps us just prepare better. And we get the kids into crews, and they kind of are with the same small group, so it kind of helps us distribute the crews evenly. But either way, like Dana said, atonement.live, you can go there to register. If you have any questions, give us a call here. Bio Girls, that registration starts September 9th. August. I always say.
Or we're doing it in September.
Yeah, no, we're doing it in September. For a while I was saying September 6th, and now at least I have the date right, but the month
August
wrong.
9th.
August 9th. You just need to be around every time I tell someone when it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Dana's know your entourage. Wherever you go,
She like pops
correcting.
up. She's like August 9th.
A little voice memo on your phone.
It
Starts August 9th.
Wrong again. I should know this. Yeah. And that you can register by going to biogirls.org/register. And that's kind of cool too, because then it'll show you all the sites, like every BioGirl site that is running or has run in the past. And like if they have an active season, it'll say that. Or if like they have a registration that's about to open, they'll tell you that. And there's like a little register button there. So you get registered by doing that. So we have that BioGirls Self-Defense coming up. The registration is in August, but the season is in September.
There we go.
Yes. Getting it straight. And then, of course, we have our main programs. Like, it seems weird that summer is halfway over.
I know.
Yeah, has anybody seen the back to school at Target yet?
No.
Because I'm
avoiding
in
it.
denial because I have so many things to do for fall.
Right. And it's like the middle of July.
I'm just trying to get through VBS first.
It just dawned on me. It just dawned on me like yesterday, like the 4th of July already happened. Because I was like, hey, when's the 4th? Oh, we're already past it.
Oh,
we did that already.
Yeah. Came and went.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then we have our big rally day, and then we start our main programs, which for me, for kids ministry, is Sunday school. We do 2 Sunday school programs on Sunday that align with the church service times, and then Wednesday night kids club. So that's like Sunday school, but we do a different program or a different curriculum, and then we always have gym time at the end. And that was cool because we redid our climbing wall last year. And so we would sometimes open that up on Wednesday night, and the kids loved that. And then speaking of climbing wall, we also started a climbing crew that meets a couple times a month, and we'll be starting that up again in the fall. And so we would climb here, and then we would go to Nature of the North, which, sad thing, Nature of the North shut down their climbing portion. But I think we're going to start doing one at Atonement and then go to Fargo climbing, which I haven't actually been to yet, but everyone that has been says it's pretty cool. So start doing like one of our monthly meetings there.
I think they have boulder climbing there.
Yeah, I think it's all bouldering too. But I heard it's pretty big and it's awesome.
Fun.
Yeah, and the kids really enjoyed
Anytime there are like kids in this building that like don't go to Atonement, their favorite thing is like, you guys have a climbing wall?
Yes, and it's a
Can we
super
climb
nice
it?
one now. Yeah. Yeah, we got all like night grows holds, and like we just redid it, and it's super awesome. It's like textured, and
Tara and I painted a mural. It's great.
It looks nice.
awesome. Yeah,
Throwing my little contribution in there.
That's all me. That's all me.
I designed
Big
it.
contribution.
Tara painted it.
no, it looks amazing. You guys did a great job.
Oh, wonderful. Well, it's so exciting. Just again,
There's so much fun things for kids to do here.
There are. We want to make it fun.
It's the middle of July and everything's already planned out and ramped up. So you can see.
Yeah.
I hope what you are hearing, who's listening to this, is the excitement that we as leaders have in all these things going on.
Because our big seat, well, it's not a secret. Like our volunteers, I think, have almost, if not just as much fun as the kids do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't even like kids, so
Well, what does that tell you? I mean, Dana's like, I can't wait.
it's a good time.
Yeah. I always like at VBS, like you see like, so we give all the snacks to the kids and then you're like, oh, where'd all the volunteers go? And like, they're all huddled in the kitchen, like eating the extra snacks. Yeah. They're like, this is great.
I take advantage of like, I just get to wander with the camera and I'm like, what are you guys doing in the kitchen? What are we having for snack
Yeah,
time?
what's going on?
Do you
And
want to try more?
that's the other best part is not just decoration. All that is perfect, like paired to VBS. The snacks are also
They're themed.
paired to the theme. Yeah. And they're always cool.
And tasty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like them. We're doing cactus punch, which I think we did. We call it something else. We did a couple of years ago, but it's like that sherbet punch with like the sherbet and the 7-Up. And I think it was like Mark or someone like saw like like double fisting punch. You're like, it is that good.
Yep.
Like everyone was like, oh, it's like rushing to get the last punch.
Man, at this recording, we still have 10 days to go.
Yeah.
And my stomach's like,
Yeah.
that sounds good.
I know. Well, and we have the volunteer meals. Like we feed our volunteers before, which is also delicious. And I enjoy that as well. I need to be 141 pounds in a gi for
Yes.
like 6 weeks here. I'm like, this is not going to help me.
Well, you're going to be going to the gym twice a day. And
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like you run around enough during VBS to maybe put on like a couple ankle weights or something.
Yeah, I was like, I need to make my weight class. Yeah.
Listen, all your calories are forgiven at church. So
They don't count.
Yeah,
When
they
you're in
don't
the
count.
building,
VBS
don't
snacks
count
go to
my
your heart, not
calories.
your
Yeah.
stomach.
there's an unlimited absolution when you walk in here. So
Don't count. You can eat whatever you want.
That is how I just function through all of like Lent or Christmas.
And Christmas.
exactly.
It's just like it doesn't
Yeah.
count.
When you have like the best foods left over, you're like, that's like the best thing about, well, not the best thing, but like, after every event or like
it's probably the
Lenten meal, you're like, oh, food, leftovers, lunch is already here.
Problem solved.
Yes. There's just something about a good like church potluck or like church food. Yeah. Love it.
Excellent. Well, I'm wondering, do we have time?
We're at 41 minutes and 37 seconds.
To be exact.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's try real quick. I'll just float it out there. So if you've been coming to church, you have noticed that we've been in a sermon series called Confronting Christianity, where we've been covering some pretty big questions. And these questions come from the secular culture, usually as an accusation toward Christianity in some way. And we've been seeking to respond from a Christian perspective to these accusations. It's what's called apologetics. And so, we've gone through a couple of them. Do you guys want to talk deeper about any that we have covered up until this point? I can tell you that we talked about, aren't we better off without religion? I talked on that one. And then we talked about, doesn't Christianity crush diversity? Pastor Becky talked about that one on June 26th. And then Paul talked about, how can you say there's only one true faith? And then Paul last week talked about, doesn't religion hinder morality? And so out of any of those, do any of you have any questions or comments that you want to lift up on them? I'm biased because I taught one of them, so or I
Right.
preached on one of them.
I'm like, I like the one that we talked about on Tuesday, but I suppose that's like
I know that's
the sermon
Spoiler
that-
alert.
Like that's the one that's fresh
That's
in
the
my
one
mind.
I thought of when Sarah brought it up, and I was like, wait, no, because we just talked about it. I was like, oh, wait,
We can
no,
talk about
haven't
that one if you guys
done
want
that
to.
one yet.
I
That
kind of
one's
want to because I kind of geek out on history, and I'm like, oh, like I even didn't know some of that stuff. Like there's like such misconceptions. I feel like a lot when it comes to history, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know like that was the actual history that changes things.
Well, the good news is, because of just how the interwebs work and how
Actually,
the podcast
this
works,
episode would be out
Oh, yeah.
afterwards.
it'll be out afterwards. So we can
Perfect.
talk about coming up. Pastor Mark is going to preach on doesn't religion cause violence? That's the
Yes.
topic.
I'm excited about that one.
So what was some of the stuff that stood out to you that you're like, I like the history part? Like what in the history?
Just about like the Crusades, or like what the whole point of the Crusades was, and just reading all that, and I was like, yeah, I never heard that.
Yeah, I mean, usually that's been the kind of the problem with like a lot of the information that we always get is we're getting constant messages that are bombarding us, but they're just sound bites.
Right.
They don't give the context to a lot of this stuff. And the Crusades is much more complex than Christians bad, Muslims good. It was a back and forth, basically battle of cultures. And it was kind of the first time that Europe was really united under the same cause of an encroaching empire that had basically wiped out most of Greek Christianity by that point, had conquered Spain. This is the Seljuk Turks, I believe. And was this expanding empire that was around, the Ottoman Empire. It was around until the 20th century. But the Crusades were about, from the Christian perspective, it was about saving Greek Christianity, Constantinople, but also about liberating the Holy Land from Muslim occupation, because prior to the Muslims taking over the land, they took it from Christians. So, I mean, it's a story as old as history. It's not one side bad, the other side good. But it does speak to, from at least the European perspective, what we call the Crusades. There's actually 4 or 5 of them, but speaking just of like the first one, it was about stopping an empirical invasion from the Ottomans. Or is it the Seljuk Turk? I can't remember. I gotta go back.
There was like so much
myself.
Good historical information. I'm like, I'm the same boat.
It's not as black and white, but it can be used that way. And in our history, you think about like, not Islam as a religion or American Muslims. I mean, just like in Christianity, there's many different flavors of Islam, but you had people like ISIS and Al-Qaeda using the Crusades as a justification to fight back against the Crusaders or the Christians, whoever they would name as their enemy. They would use that term. And I remember it being used quite a bit around like 2009, 2010, when we were in Afghanistan and we were in Iraq, and it was all after 9/11. A lot of that coming out in the press about, who are we to be doing anything, as if we're the ones who are the crusaders.
Yeah.
But
I feel like what you kind of said, like what we get a lot of the time are sound bites, and it's like history, but with like the flavor of like whatever they're trying to push, like they're trying to convince you of something. And so you're going to get like whatever in history supports that viewpoint instead of the full story.
Yeah. What's the saying? History is written by the
victors.
Yep. Yeah. Or rewritten by people who are trying to sell you something.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just made that up.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Trademark, copyright, Katie Stensgaard. What got me was that the chapter where they talked about ISIS justifying? Was it that one? Or was the one on morality? I
can't remember.
That made my skin crawl.
I think that was this one.
Was that this one about the ISIS judge that had slaved a Christian girl and abused her and beat her up and did horrible things to her, and was like, I've had 4 slaves before you and all of them are Muslim. So I'm doing this for your own good. And it's like, are you kidding? I think that was the one, doesn't religion hinder morality?
Right.
That Becky talked about. That was the story right at the beginning of that book. And that made my skin crawl. And the reason we have that story is because that woman who was a Christian, she ended up winning, I think, like a Nobel Prize or something like that, or some big award. She survived it and shared her harrowing experience with the world. But it's just, I know, right? She comes up again in when it talks about the chapter on how could a loving God allow suffering, because that's the one that I'm skipping
Getting ready
ahead.
to preach.
Mark's preaching that one. I'm just reading ahead. So
I know, it's so good. You're like, yeah.
Yeah. What I really like about the book, and I like how she puts it, is so often we can be made into caricatures that if you don't agree with this, then you're obviously this.
Yes. Like that either or.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of these questions kind of speak that way, that, I mean, it's so easy for us to draw lines in the sand and say you're this or that. And Christians do it too, that like, if you don't think like the way I think, then you're not, blah, blah, blah. I like how she speaks in her writing in a very matter-of-fact way and just kind of lays out the facts, and then lays out what the heart of Christianity is really about in the midst of these tough questions.
And I like that. I mean, I feel like sometimes we're afraid to talk about it, and she's like, no, we need to talk about it. Like, these are the things that, like, these common misconceptions that we need to talk about. And I don't know. I think faith should be questioned. That's how it helps you grow in your faith when you can question things. And, God wants you to bring those things to him.
Right.
Lots of times we're like, oh, we can't let God, God already knows how you're feeling, what you're thinking.
Yeah, you've already had the thought.
It's not like you're keeping a secret from it.
So
yes, exactly.
let me just give you an idea here. When you stop questioning, that's when you stop believing, because you stopped talking to God. Many of my conversations with God aren't just, God, you're so holy, and God, that's again a caricature of what Christian prayer is like. Often my prayers to God are like, help me, or why is this?
Right.
The opposite of faith is not doubt. The opposite of faith is unbelief. And if you stop questioning, if you stop wondering, you're going to end up in unbelief.
Right. Or like any emotion. I think people sometimes think like, well, I can't be angry with God. Like, sure you can. Like, talk through it with him.
I think you can take it.
He's going to be okay.
Yeah.
You're not going to
hurt his feelings.
Yeah. I always think, this is like kind of off topic, but I always think of like Lieutenant Dan.
That,
but like that.
It's time for a showdown, you and I.
But like God's probably like, let's go,
Right.
let's do this, Lieutenant Dan. And then it's like all calm in the morning because they worked it out. You know what I mean?
I was scared, but Lieutenant Dan, he was mad.
Yes.
After that, shrimping was easy.
And they're like, boom, the shrimp.
If I get to do the caption for this episode, I'm absolutely putting in there. Listen for DJs.
Nice.
After that,
2 minutes in. Welcome. 51 minutes. Pastor DJ's Forrest Gump impression.
Oh, I wish you guys could have heard me a couple years ago when I was embedded in the South.
Probably spot on.
Oh, it's better.
Dylan was better. Dylan was great. Dylan was. I mean, he was in preschool or daycare all day, so he had it all day long. Daddy.
Now I'm just
I want to hear that.
I know. Now I'm like, I need to go find Dylan.
Well, now he's very Midwestern now, but he says oat in a boat like everybody. But no, it was
what
like.
did he say the other day that I was like, that is like, I don't even sound like that. It was so Midwestern that I was like, you're like 6. How?
Did I tell you about? I must have mentioned this to you guys. So Addie is texting with me, right? And I'm learning what texting means. Like I just discovered what SMH means. Did you know that?
Shaking my head.
Shaking my head, or just like it's just the sound. It's a sound
It's
of
the sound you make when you shake your head at somebody.
when you're it's the sound.
If it makes you feel better, it took me a while too. I was like, what?
Well, and so Melissa, here we're just so old. Melissa texts it or looks it up, and I'm like, she's explaining all it means. I'm like, are you on Wikipedia? What is that? Well, so Addie was like, hey, I'm going to stay out a little bit later with my friends. Is that okay? I'm like, yes, but you need to be home because I need you to watch Dylan. And she came back and she wrote OFC, to which I responded, O for cute? And she's like, of course, Dad. And I still didn't get it. I'm like, oh, okay, so it's O for cute. She don't know, it's of course. I think Reese told me it's of course.
I'm doubling down on that. Yep. Yeah.
So now whenever you see OFC,
Yep.
you'll think of a very Scandinavian, O for cute.
That's like the switch from LOL where it's like, I thought it meant lots of love.
Can it mean both? I mean,
Sure.
come on. Yeah.
Just got to read it in the right context.
LOL to grandma.
Well, when
Grandma died, LOL.
when Dylan was 3, I vividly remember this and thinking we need to move back to the Midwest. At 3 years old, he looks at me and he says, Daddy, I want some milk. Can I have some milk?
And then did you tell
Milk?
it's milk, MALK.
Yeah, I want some milk.
Oh,
Okay, I'm getting this kid some
baby Dylan with
milk.
Southern accent
Oh.
is just.
He was a little Southern gentleman. He was great.
I love
Yes,
it.
ma'am.
Yeah. I'm kind of sorry that he lost that.
Yeah,
Maybe
I know.
you're not, but I am because I wanted to hear it.
Well, and I've asked Reese because, again, Reese is very theatrical. She likes to go to the theater.
Notice this.
I've said to her, so do you just show your friends that you can just drop into a Southern accent when you want to? She goes, no, I'm more into Australian these days.
Southern's out, Australians in.
What?
Such a nice thing to say.
So she'll go, no, oh, car. I can't even do it.
Where is she? Yeah.
Yep.
He's like, when do they get back from Alaska?
Yeah, exactly.
We need her to come here and do this
what
accent.
accent will she come back with from Alaska?
Oh man, do they have accents in
Well,
Alaska?
you could
Do
close to
they?
Russia or Canada.
She's decided
You got
that she's
both?
gonna have
Canadian.
Yeah, Canadian.
This reminded me of that
boot.
Saturday Night Live episode. Like, I can see Russia from my house. Something that she never actually said, but
Yep.
was stuck
That is
on
what
her.
she's like known for.
Sarah Palin.
Yeah, I missed that one.
Yeah.
The only one that I think I've ever watched and remember watching is the swords one. That will always be
Swords
my
one.
favorite. S word. What swords?
S words 4,000. Alex.
Oh, see, you have the accents though. It's like not just your kids. You have them.
Yeah, but theirs are good. Theirs are good.
I think yours
Yeah.
are okay.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I got Forrest Gump sort of, and
You have accents in women's
Sean
tank
Connery.
tops.
Faster DJs.
I feel like this could follow you.
you're gonna get us on like the Valley News hotline tip
Welcome
or
to
something.
DJ's House of Theological Knit-Rittery. We're in the knit-rittery
We
section.
specialize in women's tank tops and accents.
Yeah, take your pick. I suppose
We
you
did
can have both at the
theological
same time.
earlier.
Well, I think we've done about enough damage for one day.
Have we though?
Have we though? So glad you came on, Katie.
Me
So
too. This
glad.
was fun.
And if you think this is fun, VBS is going to be 10 times as fun.
And I was gonna say, like, anytime you want me back, I'm here. Because this was a blast.
See, folks, this is why you need religion, because religion is good for your health. Laughter is good for you. As we learned in Aren't We Better Off Without Religion, actually being religious makes you healthier
It does.
and happier. And this is part of the reason. So there you go. You can laugh with one another.
I feel like we do a lot of that here.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah, Atonement's a special place that way.
Right.
I believe that every Christian church, God is doing something in the midst of that place. But there is something very special about here. Just the spirit that's in this place, the way the Holy Spirit is working here, and that we don't take ourselves too seriously. I think that's a danger we can all get into, is taking ourselves too seriously. We take Christ and the Bible very seriously. We don't take ourselves very seriously at all, and that's a good thing.
Right. I remember reading something, I don't know where, but like about like God having a sense of humor. I was like, oh yeah. I'm like, we have a sense of humor, so it makes sure like, it makes sense that we would have gotten that from him because we're created in his image. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
If people relax a little bit and just read the Bible in its context, it actually has a lot of funny things in it.
It does. It really
Mark
really
has a
does.
lot of, I think Mark has a list of like times in the Bible where God was being sarcastic. And
Like,
that's,
where
I
do you
think,
think
my
we
favorite.
got it
Yeah.
from? Yeah.
Oh, there's a sermon that I preach where people are like, I just don't understand. I'm like, it's because Jesus is being sarcastic. Look at it closer. The word he's using, he means, basically he says to people, if you're going to steal money from people, just like the unjust judge, use that as your example, and then you can make friends with people according to illegal money, and then you can live in their eternal dwellings. But the word for dwelling is tent. It's kind of making the point.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyone wondering, tents are not eternal.
Thanks for clearing that up.
They come down.
In case you didn't get that one.
They're not great in
Explained.
hurricane weather.
They're not
or
great, no.
tornadoes, or
Really anything that's too much one way or the other. It's
Right.
not going to stand up to much.
Yeah.
No.
They're designed to be in one location for a limited amount of time.
Yep.
They're not eternal. So. Anyway, okay, good. Well, on that note, if you are free this Sunday, we'd love to see you. Whether you are able to join us on site at 9 and 10:30 or online, we have a tradition service at 9 o'clock and a modern service at 10:30. Both are amazing. Both are spirit filled, and you're going to be blessed by them. And as Katie mentioned, July 24th through 28th, we have VBS, Monumental VBS here at Atonement. Come beforehand and see all that's going on and get excited, because it's a fun time. It's VBS time. It's my favorite free shirt time.
They're the
favorite
best shirts ever. That's
Yes, we do. Shirts every year, different design, but they're like, aren't they
The softest shirts.
They're like ever.
Every year, Katie comes in with this gigantic pile of shirts, and everyone in the room is just like, VBS shirts are here.
Katie wasn't here when these ones got delivered, and I was like, Margene, I'm opening the box.
I should have. Yeah. Although Mark was trying to bring me down last, he didn't like the mint julep green. I thought it was delightful.
Well,
He
you
still
know
talks
what?
about
I
it.
always find that shirt in my laundry.
Exactly.
I'm like,
Right.
Yep.
I was wearing it yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Right.
I don't
It's a
care what
lovely
color it is.
It's so
the
soft.
comfiest shirt
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah. I like mint julep
Yeah.
green. Just saying.
Yeah, real easy to spot all the kids.
Right.
And them.
Yeah. Because it's like
Can't lose
bright festive color.
Yeah.
Well, and so
VBS is
so
festive.
this year, would you call this grape soda?
They call it, what do they call it?
I think it's grape.
Grape.
Is it grape?
I think it was. So grape, yeah, we could do grape soda.
Grape soda. I just think of the pin from Up,
Yeah.
the grape soda.
Oh, yeah. Also a good movie.
That's right.
Yeah. Who
right.
doesn't want to float their house away with balloons? Just saying.
At least once a week.
Yep.
All the time.
That's it. I've had
I'm like, do you ever wonder if that actually
the
worked?
helium
Do you ever
tanks.
wonder, like, if I got enough balloons?
I think someone's actually done like the math on that, and it's like way too many balloons.
I think at some point it would like
it's
rip the
way
roof off
too
your
many.
house.
Yeah.
You're like, well, there goes my roof.
What happens if you have a basement? You just have like a stairwell that goes
You
down
don't
to nothing?
anymore.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The basement stays.
Oh, okay.
The house go. Well, then, yeah.
Concrete slabs don't lift up too then, huh?
There's this amazing TikTok trend right now where it's using the sound from Up with hello, my name is the kid's name. I'm from Troop blah blah blah. What, do you need any assistance today? And it's like my new puppy trying to play with my like 12-year-old dog, and then it cuts to so it's this new puppy like biting on stuff and being crazy, and then it cuts to this old dog going, no. It's just so heartwarming.
As we were saying, July 24th and 28th, VBS, and sign up for Bio Girls Self-Defense is August 9th.
Thanks, Dana.
Registration opens up. You can find that on atonement.live. You can sign up for VBS and for Bio Girls Self-Defense. You can sign up for, both are at atonement.live. The dates given. VBS registration is open. August 9th will be for Bio Girls Self-Defense.
Yep.
As well as anything else that's going on in this church family life. You can go to atonementfargo.org, atonement.live. All of our podcasts are on YouTube. Just search Atonement Fargo, or go to wherever you listen to podcasts. We're on everything. I listen to that podcast on Spotify.
We're everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. That was weirdly in sync.
Really
Do you know what Dylan would do right there? Jinx. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You owe me a pop. Soda. I've confused him. He wants to call them pop, but I call them soda. So he's like, soda pop.
So pop.
Soda pop. There you go.
Soda pop.
Tally used to call, she couldn't decide between pancakes and waffles, so they were pan waffles.
Oh, nice.
Pan waffles and comb brush. Those were her words.
Rock on.
Nice.
All right, everybody. Well, on behalf of Sarah DeYoung, Dana Mashevsky, what's your name again? Katie Stensgaard.
Sometimes.
I'm Pastor DJ Lura, and thank you for joining us for another unputdownable
Yep.
episode of that podcast. I miss Ryan.